But ultimately it's another 3 points, a step closer to everything, but maybe a little hairier than it could have been for the final few minutes. You seemed unhappy that Erling didn't take the penalty and gave it to Ilkay. Could you expand and explain that to us,
The
please?
performance was excellent. The performance was excellent. We played really, really good. Maybe we were not clinical enough, but it's football. But I'm not going to explain what's my feelings about the game for the last 5 or 6 or 7 minutes, because in general it was really good. The first half better than the second, but the second was under control and everything. And who knows if Erling take the penalty and miss it? What happened if Riyad take the penalty and miss it? What happened if Ilkay Gundogan take a penalty and score? So the question is, with 2-0, who's the taker? The taker is Erling, is Riyad, they have to take it with 2-0. That's the first point. Second point, that means how is Erling as a person. So, I said many times, he incredible, want to score goals, but at the same time, the team, the mates, same important. You know, he had chances to score a goal, they didn't convert, but he played outstanding game. Erling play with relation and the chances that he had, it doesn't matter. But with 2-0, especially in everywhere, especially in England, never is over. And I want, who's the taker, because I have more routine, have a specialist, and the other one to take it. But that's all. So that means the same. That means that Erling take a penalty or Riyad take a penalty, is going to score. Maybe don't. So who knows?
Jamie?
Hi, Pep. Just to follow up on the penalty, you said after it was missed, you said to Erling, or you could be lit red anyway, so you have to take it.
Yeah.
Given how professional you are and your team, you must have been surprised Erling didn't take it for that very reason. Because
he's so nice. Because he's so nice.
But nice isn't always professional, is it? If you understand what I'm trying to say.
No, he's a professional, honestly. Do you know the last game we played against West Ham? We finished at 10:30-11. He went directly to the training center to make a treatment. At 11:30-12 was him and Ruben, who was to make a treatment. Of course he's a professional.
So I just meant this actual decision wasn't the most professional because you try to win the title and you have to be ruthless.
He's ruthless. But in the same time, they said, okay, Ilkay never score a hat-trick, I guess, we want to do it. And he's so generous, so nice. It doesn't mean that Erling take a penalty and miss it. Who knows it? So it's not about that. But the feeling is he has more confident right now because he has taken maybe 10, 11 penalties and had this feeling. And Gundogan didn't have that feeling right now. I understand both sides. I understand, So because the game could be over for advance, for the chances, for the way they play. Because now the first 2 questions about Erling, what happened. It's okay. But 95 minutes during 89, it was really good. We read perfectly because Roca and McKinney follow the pockets to Julian and Kevin. The spaces were with Gundogan and Enrico making incredible commits. We play really good. We concede 1 shoot and target, and set pieces like they are good. Sam Allardyce always their teams, set pieces are a master. But in general, the team was really good. The second half maybe was not intense, we were more control. We cannot forget 3 games in 6 days after a demanding game against Arsenal. They are human beings. That's why today I rotate 7 players, because I had the feeling right after Fulham, I didn't have the feeling I had to rotate. I see the team alive. But the day after, when I see the game against West Ham, I had the feeling that, they are tired. So I said they have to change it. And the plays, all the guys who came in for a long time, like the game from Laporte was exceptional. So all of them, Rico played exceptional. Everyone was incredible focus, knowing what you are playing for. But with 2-0, you have to close it. You don't have to give anything to the, if you can control it, you have control it. Saying that, it doesn't matter. Gundo could have a score, and the other ones could miss. So who knows it? It's not about that. I admire a lot the fact that Gundo want to take responsibility to score a goal, take a penalty. That is the best value as a player have. But normally the taker is the taker. Erling had to take it because he's our specialist.
Sam?
Pep, just on Gundogan, he's had an amazing career, and there's a lot of discussion that he may leave in the summer. I wonder if he looks at what he's got here and the team that he's in, whether the temptation as a player is you've got the rest of your career to do other stuff. That really, there must be a strong feeling that he should stay. That anything is possible in this side.
I said about the contract is going to have the club is involved in that. You know, the club knows my opinion about that, but the club is above me and had a decision. We do it together. The decision always we take together. You know, whatever, do it in good and bad together. So it's not necessarily Gundo scored 2 incredible goals. How good he played today, reading the spaces. You know, he has everything. Incredible run in the final third and. You know, and when I put a handy midfielder, how intelligent, how good it is. So necessary today performed really well, scored 2 goals to know exactly how I like this player and how I enjoyed all this time work with him and how I like to work with him in the future.
Hi Pep, just how's Nathan Ake if he came off?
I didn't speak with the doctor, but apparently if he asked to, you know, we will see next days.
You've lost the game, but just give us how much you enjoyed being back in the technical area.
Well, obviously, in difficult circumstances, but still accepting the job, then you've got to do the best you possibly can. But of course, it's about being on the training ground for the last week and feeling the adrenaline rush of that opportunity to be back in the Premier League and be on the training ground with a squad of players that. We have to try and make better as quick as we can with just 4 games left. So it's been a difficult challenge, of course, we all know that, but it's been one that we've jumped at, enjoyed. Me, Carl and Robbie together have enjoyed working with the players and the backroom staff and trying to get to a position of where we can try and win a football match. And of course, we take some hope out of today on the second half performance, not the first half, but certainly the second half performance, and see if we can build on that and go that little bit farther and make sure that it's a result at the end of the day and not a defeat. But you know, I was slightly fearful, but second half we sorted it out in the dressing room, and we said and go that little bit farther and make sure that it's a result at the end of the day and not a defeat. But you know, I was slightly fearful, but second half we sorted it out in the dressing room, and we said they're playing with too much fear, get on the front.
You could have done.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a huge amount of emphasis on today, and without a lot of knowledge apart from the staff that are already here, we knew we would have to make 5 subs today. I think the disappointing thing was one of our subs gave the penalty away, so I'd have to say that was disappointing. But the rest of the subs came on and kept us going. So we were putting fresh legs on, with fresh energy, and giving us an opportunity of which we created and scored a very, very good goal. So yeah, so you know, making those substitutes and when, because obviously Carl's saying, well, we're going to do the last 2 and there's still 15 minutes to go, and I'm saying we'll take the risk, because if there's another one that gets injured and comes off, we have to play with 10 men. But it was worth the risk for me, and I think that you know, like I said, we came close, but not close enough.
And so 3 games to go. Do you have an idea in your mind of how many points you need from those 3 games?
Try to get 3 points against Newcastle, take 1 game. The old story, the old saying that every manager says. But we've got to try and get better between now and next week. We've got to try and increase our performance by 5%. I mean, it'd be too much for asking a bit more than that in such a short period of time. But you know, iron out a few more of the playing side in terms of our possession, because that's what let us down more than anything. Our in possession in the first half, it was too rushed. It wasn't accurate enough. It wasn't clinical enough. They weren't hitting the right spaces. And when we started doing that a little bit better in the second half, we got more of attacking options, which gave the defenders a bit of rest and a bit of respite so they could regroup and defend again. So yeah, pleased about the second half.
The camera picked you up after the penalty, saying to Erling Haaland, you have to take it.
Yeah, because the game is not over. First take is Erling, and after that one, I understand. That means how nice is Erling, how generous and how special person it is. But yeah, when the game is 2-0, 4-0, 10 minutes left, it's okay. But with 2-0, who's the best taker penalty by far right now is Erling. Had to take it.
First, he has shown that to Erling, that he was quite mad about that, and afterwards he had a go also at me, and I was actually confident to score. And then sometimes how it is, they go on the counter, you know, they score a goal, and of course we deserve to get the 3 points today.
We'll come to that very shortly. It was a lot more dominant victory probably than the scoreline suggests. But let's start with Gundogan, the hero.
Yeah, City played really well, particularly Gundogan. They worked out what Leeds were going to do and how to counteract that. And we've seen them do it so many times, how they make the pitch big, they get into the positions deep into the 18-yard box and then pull it back. They had a warning, Leeds. And this is exactly what the warning was. Well, Alvarez, that's what Leeds did the vast majority of the first half. Got men in behind the ball, but they didn't pick up, they didn't mark. That was Alvarez, that was the best chance after 10 minutes or so, and he skies it over the bar. So that was the warning. But then Gundogan took centre stage in terms of his finishes, particularly the first two anyway. Again, make the pitch big. Stretch them. Again, Leeds get men in behind the ball. But look at Gundogan, look where he goes, look how much space he's got. There's the 9 defenders in the box there trying to make it difficult, but they all forget about him. I mean, it's such a clever finish. And you can see it just kisses in the inside of the post. Very clever finish, but to give anyone that amount of space, let alone him, this is almost identical. A few minutes later, similar thing. There's the numbers. There's them stretching the pitch, but on this occasion, he actually gets time to take a touch. Then he looks up, goes to the other side, but you cannot give anyone that amount of space, particularly Man City players who were flying, getting result after result. And first half, I should say, they were superb and could have been more.
To the penalty, and you could say Gundogan the villain, but of course he's not, because anyone can miss a penalty. But it was interesting, especially Pep's reaction and stuff. And 2 strikers here took penalty. Well, 3 of us took penalties. Yeah. I don't think you give them away, do you?
It was, like Pep said, it was a nice gesture for Haaland, saying how kind he is. But like I said, it's 2-0. It's the kind of thing for me that what happened is what could happen, and what experienced people are saying why the main penalty taker should take it. Because, you know, he takes it, to be fair, I think the goalkeeper gets a fingertip or whatever, but he misses, and then Leeds go and score the other end. Now, like, for me, for instance, I know for a fact that if that happened and we missed because I gave it to someone else, Tony Adams would probably not be happy with that. I know George Graham definitely wouldn't be. I
don't care whether it's 2-0 or 7-0. If you're the penalty taker, you've got to go and take the penalty.
Speaking of which, 7. Wasn't there some time way back when I recall when a youngster tried to take a penalty off you?
Yeah, we were winning 7-0, Gary, against Sheffield Wednesday at home. Bobby Robson's first home game. I'd already scored 4, and we got another penalty with a few minutes left, and the young kid come on, Paul Robinson, and asked me and said, in a polite way, he said, can I have the penalty? You can imagine my response. It ended with off.
I did exactly the same thing with David Platt in a World Cup quarter-final. Exactly
Platty wanted one. Platty wanted to take it.
Yeah, fair play to him. He said, well, if you don't fancy it, and I just said something that ended off.
Same thing.
It was always going to be difficult for Leeds, a tough one, even for Sam Allardyce, come in and try and make an impact against the team that is in such imperious form.
Well, if you listen to Sam after the game, he said they're going to have to improve at least 5%. And yes, that's right. But what they're also going to have to improve on is when the ball goes up to him, if they're going to play that same system, he's got to do better. He's got to give his teammates a chance. I know it's very difficult for him because there's no one within 20 or 30 yards of his teammates, but he's got to hold the ball up better to give them a chance to get up. Not only that, but it also gives his defence a bit of a breather, because if they don't, the ball keeps coming back at them straight away. That's a simple touch to keep hold of that ball. Again here, that he gives it handball. It's just poor play there, but because what happens, it's relentless. When you're playing against better teams, if you keep on doing that, then they keep on coming at you, and eventually they're going to score. I think this is a really good run, but again, it's a poor touch in there. You've got to get that into the corner to allow your teammates to get up. And again, it seems very rushed here. Take a touch, be a bit more composed, allow players to try and get up to another 15 yards further up the park, and then that gives you an opportunity to try and sort and create stuff.
Leeds were the only team that are in that kind of relegation fight that played today. And obviously they didn't get any points, but it was always unlikely at Manchester City. So, I mean, it's going to be tight, isn't it? It's any two from.
And that next home game, isn't it? Nottingham Forest against Southampton is huge. I think Southampton are already gone, but I think it's going to be tough for Leeds.
Yeah.
Particularly where they defend.
Okay. So positives then for Sam Allardyce to build upon after what was a curious game at the Etihad Stadium, because City are now just 3 wins away from winning the league title once again. What did you make of the game afterwards? Was it a lot closer than really it should have been, Shay?
Well, the scoreline suggests it was, but we watched it live here in the studio, and yeah, it was over 80% possession for Manchester City, and Haaland showed today I think he's human after all, because he created a lot of chances, hit the post, I think hit the crossbar. They could have been out of sight. I'm sort of just sniggering at the end of Sam Allardyce's interview, because he says, you know, I think he's trying to build it up, get some sort of belief into his squad to keep Leeds in the division, you know, but they were second best all day. They got that goal from a mistake off of Kanji, of course, and I think he's just sort of trying to hang on to some sort of positives, but the better team won today for sure.
He's great at that, isn't he? I mean, he's a master of the spin, Sam. I mean, he's got such experience. I mean, he's been brought in to not win this game today, but just to keep him in the league. I think they need 3 points, possibly 4. It was going to be very difficult, whatever happened today. But they sat very deep. We saw they had 10 bodies in the box for the first and second goal. But no one's getting in close enough to Gundogan, you know, and his finishes were absolutely fantastic. But I agree with Shay there. He's the master. I mean, he's talking to the players, first and foremost, a lot of the fans, the owners who have given him the opportunity to keep this club safe in the Premier League. And even if just a small percentage of them listened to him without watching a football match, you think they was unlucky there today. But realistically, it was a hammering. It was a 2-1 hammering. But when you score a scrappy goal, you never know. The last few minutes of the game, anything can happen with a set piece. With a team who just kept going. They never give up, Leeds. They kept going. Any team managed by this man will never, ever give up.
Yeah, but Robert, you can see why he's trying to accentuate the positives. He's down there. He's battling against the other teams. His goal difference, he probably was fearing for that going to the Etihad. It's only been knocked by 1 at the end of it.
Yeah, that was the big positive. I mean, we obviously spoke before the game and saying what type of game we were expecting. You know, it was going to be all Manchester City, you know, so dominant, and that was the case. So it was as though the game plan from Sam was, look, let's let them have all the ball, we'll tie them out and then come into it the last 5 minutes. And that's really what happened. And if you're looking for positives, the positives are, you know, they've lost the game by 1 goal, which doesn't affect really that much the, you know, the bottom half of that table, because leading into this game, we sort of we fully expected Manchester City to get the win, but we expect them to get a lot more goals. So that is a real positive for Leeds, that they've only managed to keep just the one difference.
Let's have a look at both goals from İlkay Gundogan, starting as the defensive midfielder. But as we know, if you're a midfielder in Pep's team, you're not going to be defensive particularly, but it's the precision of his goals.
I think we shouldn't be surprised. He did obviously that Leeds came to the Etihad to shut up shop, be really deep defensively. There was nearly 2 banks of 5 in front of them, but the goals are identical. Gundogan just sort of, no one at any stage gets close to him, and no one closes them down. The second one takes an extra touch, takes their midfielder of the game, and I think he reverses it, does the goalkeeper with the eyes a little bit. But you know, when you're getting deeper and deeper onto your goal, you know, someone has to go and engage, someone has to get to Gundogan, because he's got the quality to punish you.
Yeah. Into the second half then, and this is where, you know, they were on course, City, for registering the most possession ever seen in a Premier League game, something like 84%. But it didn't quite pan out that way, Tim.
They were in cruise control. I think the penalty decision is huge. I think it is a penalty. Phil Foden come on there, just nicks it away. You see Erling Haaland straight away saying to Gundogan, who's already got 2 goals, he's saying to him, I want you to take this. We understand why he's doing it. He's a good teammate. Even though he's chasing the record after record, he's give it to Gundogan to take it. He has full confidence that he will score. But they've gone against the plan. The plan is for Erling Haaland to be the penalty taker, and Pep Guardiola wasn't happy with this. And he's missed it. I fancied him to score it, even though, look, you should have took that. You take it. Erling, you should take it. And he's absolutely right. You stick to the plan, because you never know. They go up, the next attack, they score a goal, and then it was a scrappy finish to the front.
Tim, can I ask you a question? Do you think there's an element of who he's playing against that? Is that he didn't really want to take the penalty? I know he scored against Leeds.
Against his boyhood club Leeds, you mean?
But it's different now, Nick, because you're coming towards the end of the season. Leeds obviously fighting for every point, and does he want to be that man? Does he want to be that man who wants to send Leeds down?
I think we're not suggesting that he doesn't want to win the game and he wants Leeds, but he wants Leeds to stay up. If you asked him who would you want to stay up, so if Man City have to play any of the teams down the bottom, he'd be hell bent on trying to beat them to keep Leeds in the division. His dad and him and the close friends of theirs all support Leeds United. I mean, you represent the team you play for, but I found it very strange that he wanted to give the ball to
Robbie. You'd never be in that position, would you?
No, look, I've said, off camera, I'm a striker. I want to score goals. I want every single chance I can, and that for me is a chance to really get, more goals, for your collection, if you like. Didn't really work with me. I can see why he's done it, to be fair, because he's probably been
just too nice.
Yeah, they'd probably been in the air or giving Gundogan a chance to get his hat-trick, but.
He's like, I'll get one next week.
Yeah.
I'll get a ball next week. If they got room for it.
I think the second half might have played into it as well, because they played it nearly at a testimonial pace. They were just passing it and strolling around the pitch, and it was like, oh, we got a penalty, let's make it free. You can have it. It was kind of not a jolly up as such, but it was so easy. It seemed second half.
Yeah.
You just thought Gundogan was going to score, but it wasn't easy. And we said about sport and football in general, it can bite you in the backside, and they've gone straight up the pitch and scored. And then Pep's angry at the final whistle because he thought we got away with one.
It's funny how these things work out. So Haaland didn't take the penalty. That means he hasn't scored in a league game for the first time in 2 months. In fact, he went from record breaker to a player who cut a pretty frustrated figure. I mean, he had a fair few chances, right?
Yeah, we built him up before the game. Obviously, broke the record during the week, 35 Premier League goals, and he's had some big chances today. I mean, again, we play in a team like Man City. That ball from Gundogan, I mean, it's worth the admission fee alone outside of the right foot. Look at this. Unbelievable touch, and then the spin. De Bruyne uses the spin.
Great shot from behind there.
This as well. This would have been goal of the season. And if you're banking Haaland on the back of that, Robbie, do you put that away?
Yeah, I know. Before Manish, we talked about the positives for Leeds. I mean, they were 2-0 down after 27 minutes. And the positive for them today was, okay, they got that goal in the second half. It's the goal difference, but the positive, the fact is that they won the second half, if you like, and. Haaland never had the shooting boots on. That was a real positive for them.
How do you explain something like that? Someone who's hit 51 goals in all competitions to miss kicking, and obviously from what, 2 or 3 yards out hitting the crossbar.
Yeah. Well, normally if you see the chances and you see that they missed these chances, you think, well, surely they haven't fell to this man, but they all did today. Every chance fell to him, but no matter how good you are, and Robbie was one of the best. Sometimes it's just not your day, and today it wasn't his day.
Yeah, and maybe the penalty thing as well, because he missed so many chances today. Maybe he is human after all. Maybe it was a confidence thing and thought, maybe hit the post, crossbar, I've missed so many chances.
That's a good shout,
you take it, perhaps.
Yeah. I thought confidence among strikers is always sky high, no matter what happens.
He cannot be under any confidence.
I'm just trying to.
Yeah, I know. Unbelievably sky high all the time. The amount of goals he scored.
So what that does, it means that City are now leading the pack by 4 points. Arsenal go to Newcastle on Sunday. I mean, that's a big game as far as the Gunners are concerned. But City, of course, have got to negotiate the small matter of Real Madrid next on Tuesday, away from home at the Bernabeu, first leg of that Champions League semi-final. They need 3 wins in the league to seal the deal. In fact, they could win it on Sunday if Arsenal lose their next 2 games and they beat Everton. It could be over. Could it be over as early as next week?
Of course it could, because look at the next 2 games for Arsenal. A tough game away at St James's Park. We know how difficult that can be. And Brighton. I mean, Brighton they're the party poopers. They're the ones who are really spoiling the party. They're the surprise package this year. I think De Zerbi's gone in there and really took it on from Potter and been absolutely brilliant. They can beat anyone. Look, Real Madrid is obviously a huge distraction, but a one they were happy with, obviously. I see them beating Madrid, and then the euphoric of that result will take them into the rest of the season. I think they beat Real Madrid and progress to the final of the Champions League, and they will have this season wrapped up by the time they beat Brighton.
Yeah, and don't forget Pep Guardiola made 7 changes for today's game, the most he'd made in 2 years. So that'll be a pretty fresh squad, right, for Real Madrid on Tuesday?
I think so. I've looked at City for a few months now, and I've always believed that that they will win the treble, because I think they are good, that good. But when you talk about the games coming up, the players they've got within that squad to come in and just look as though they've been a continuous, statement in that team all season. They look as though they've never been away, the players that come in. So it just tells you that the standard that they've got is exceptional.
4 points advantage going into the Real Madrid double-header. Is this the perfect lead time to charge from them?
Yeah, I mean they're really flying at the minute. I mean, even Rico Lewis, the kid, came into the team today, rested. You know, Walker rested. Akanji, of course, can play right back, but I don't know. They've got so many options. Foden's not played a lot of football. He played today. You know, Jack Grealish has been one of the star players this season, rested. But again, Haaland played the full 90 minutes today. I'm sure Pep would have wanted 3-4 more goals to drag him off. But Real Madrid, obviously midweek, they owe Real Madrid from last season. I was at the home leg and they should have been out of sight. Some of the goals that Man City conceded, both in Manchester and in the Bernabeu, was shocking, you know. So they'll be hurting still from that and they want to put that right. But I think if they can get past Real Madrid, then, as Robbie rightly says, I think the treble's really on the cards.
He's smiling at the end of it. Ilkay Gundogan was quite interesting when he said, you know, from Erling Haaland, he let me take it.
Yeah,
I'm not quite sure what Erling would make of that.
I'm not sure if Gundogan wanted to take it by his reaction in the interview after, but yeah, we spoke earlier about people like Alan Shearer, who both played with me and Tim, and saying like he would be the opposite. He's the penalty taker, and no one else would be allowed to take it, basically. And maybe Haaland needs to show that ruthlessness, because I think Pep even said it after as well. If we're 4-0 up with 10 minutes to go, okay, give your player the hat-trick, but not at 2-0. And as you rightly says, a minute later, Leeds get back in the game at 2-1, and a game that they shouldn't be nowhere near it, because the possession stats, the chances created, Man City were absolutely brilliant today. They had a sniff at the end.
You know what, I mean, the way you just said it about the being ruthless as a striker, you know, he hasn't scored that game as well. You know, as a striker, I went into every game and I was mega disappointed if I never got shots away or never scored. He's got a great chance there to get the goal there and keep that record that he's got. You know, we talked about Mo Salah before with his records. He's got a chance of being, you know, the very best, you know, there's ever been, you know.
Would you have ever once, for a split second, considered doing what Haaland did there? Knowing that Gundogan's got two.
No, I want to score goals. I mean, that's in me. I know it's in him, he wants to do it, but I'm saying, listen, this is my penalty, I'm taking it. I don't care how many you've got. You know, I want to get one.
Yeah.
What about if you was on two?
And someone else, I'd want them to. Yeah, of course, but that's me being a striker. But yes, I think Shay's right. I think you have got to be ruthless as a striker, and it's going into that game with the same attitude every single time. You know, you want to score goals.
Yeah, ultimately it's a plan. Before the game, we've all been in dressing rooms, penalty takers, free kick takers, corner takers, all highlighted, all clear. Penalty taker would have been Erling Haaland. They've gone against the plan. Pep won't be happy. He can say what he wants. We saw his reaction to it. He would have given him a good talking to, and I guarantee you it doesn't happen again.
Does it give you an unfair slant to the scoreline?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, 3 could have ended up being 5 or 6, but then that's the football. You know, you get back in the game, Rodrigo takes that goal, and then it could have been anything. A free kick, a corner, anything could have fell, scruffy goal, and they get a point out of it. But I thought it was really a hammering, wasn't it, really? A 2-1 hammering.
Yeah. But we all still expect Sam Allardyce to accentuate.
Position maintenant. Alors que se passe-t-il? Le buteur Hakim Ziyech est resté au sol.